All right, my name is Hector, and this is my coding assignment for week 7. I'm gonna try to get it done under 5 minutes, my explanation. But here it says create an array called ages, that is the following values. Subtract the value of the first one from the last one, and then add a new value to your array and repeat it. So here I have the array that's declared. Here I have a variable and I assigned it length or ages dot length minus one. It's going to give me the value of this last one minus ages zero. It's going to be this zero index. It's going to subtract this one from this one. It's going to give me 90. Here I did push 103, did the same thing, length minus one, minus ages at the zero index, gave me 100. Use a loop to iterate through the array, calculate the average age. So using these ages array, I did, um, I used sum of ages as a variable to hold the result. This for each loop is going to run once for each variable. So for each, I think 6 of these numbers, and it's going to be passed in through here. Every time you see age, it's going to get, it's going to do this function. It's going to add each age as it goes by, and it's gonna assign it to the sum of ages. Once I have all the sums of all the variables, or sorry, all the values together, it's gonna divide by ages dot length, and it's gonna give me the value. I'm sorry, the variable of ages, average of ages. Console log average of ages. Here you can see the average was 37. Here I created a variable called names for the next one. It says create a variable called names. Use a loop to calculate the average number of letters per name and the average. So what I did for that is I used total characters to get the characters for each letter in each name. I used a for loop that ran through until the length of the values inside the array was reached. Um, I use char average to keep track of the average number. So I was able to get the total characters divided by names dot length, and that was able to give me the average of the letters. Oh, with the loop, total characters is the variable that I had to hold the total. It was gonna run the loop each time, and each time it was gonna give me the length of total characters by accessing this I index dot length method to give me the individual characters for each letter in that array. And once I divided it with the length of the total in the array, I was able to get the average, which was 38.3. Next one is use a loop to iterate through the array again, concatenate all the names together separated by spaces. Here we did Sam, Tommy, Tim, Sally, Buck, and Bob. I was able to do that here in this code. Separated by spaces. Here, so I had new names with a blank string. I ran another loop again for the length of the names, and it printed out the new names plus this additional space, giving me the separated little space. Here it says, how do you access the last element of any array? You access it by doing the index, whatever the length of the array is, minus one. How do you access the first element of any array? Same thing, you access the index, which is 0, which is going to give you the first one in the array. Create a new array called name length, write a loop to iterate over the previously created array, and add the length of each name to the names array. So here I have name length. It's going to create a new array. It's a blank one that was just going to hold it. I have a for loop that's going to run through the value of each of the names that I had up here. This is going to give me the individual value inside of the array for the length. and the console is gonna print out a new array, which is gonna actually give you the numbers for each of the names that we have, which you can see right here. Gonna give me how many letters are the first name, the second name, the third name, and so on until we have all the letters for everyone in the name. I'll use a loop to iterate over the names array and calculate the sum of all the elements in the array. Here you could see it is a new array that I made using the last one called name lengths, and it added all these numbers together using a loop. Right here you could see name length. I have for each loop with the sum of names, and it calculated the total sum of the names, which equal to 36. Write a loop that takes two parameters, word and n, as arguments and returns a word concatenated to itself and a time. That you can see here. So the function I created was hello, parameter is word and n. Product is going to be an empty string. I ran a for loop that's going to run every single time until it reaches the number n or whatever number we pass through it. And it's going to concatenate right here with products and the word. It's going to return that product where it's called. So I put what's up as the string, and the number of times it should be repeated is 4. You can see right here, it says what up, what up, what up, what up, what up. Write a function that takes two parameters, first name and last name, returns a full name. Full name should be first name and last name. Put my own first name and last name with a space. You could see that right here. Full name is the name of the function. These are the parameters that we're going to pass in. And I used this method to add a space to it. Oops. Fix that real quick. And here you could see the argument that I passed inside in order for it to print out Hector Garcia. Let's see. Write a function that takes an array of numbers and returns true if all the sum of the numbers are greater than 100. This is a very similar loop than the loops that I've been doing. Here you see the sum of nums is the name of the actual function. Here is the loop that I had it ran. And here's the conditional if the sum, which is what I defined here, if the sum is greater than 100, it's going to spit out true. If not, it is false. And it looks like it is true. The sum of all these numbers is indeed over 100. The next one says, write a function that takes an array numbers and returns the average of all elements in the array. So same thing. I have a function right here, a very similar loop that loops the length of the numbers that are defined, and adds everything. Here you can see it adds all the numbers. The average gives me the sum divided by the length, and it returns the average. So the average with the array of numbers that is passed in gives me 0.3. And then write a function that takes two arrays of numbers and returns true if the average of element in the first array is greater than the second one. So for this one here, I just used the two arrays that we had used before, but just created them into two separate number arrays. So number 1, number 2. This is going to be the average of both. So each array that passes through here is going to give me an average. And then here is the function that I use to pass into this function. So once this first array passes up here, it gives me the average for the first one. Once this second array passes through this function, gives me the average for the second. Here you can see the comparison. And if the first one is greater than the second one, it's going to print out true. If not, it is false. And here you can see it is indeed true. The first one is indeed larger than the other one in the second one. And it says we'll buy drink. So for this one, oh, sorry, for the last one, it was a false. For this one, it says write a function called will buy drink that takes a boolean, is hot outside. So if it's true and you have the money, you're basically gonna get the drink. Here I have the function These are the parameters we're gonna pass inside. And here's the comparison. So I need it to be hot outside, and I also need to have more than 1050 in my pocket. So it is hot outside, I put true, but I only have 599. So it printed out as false. Here it says create a function of your own. For this one, I did a practice question that I've been doing on my own that I was assigned to, similar to one that was on the quiz. It says create a function that takes an array of numbers, return a new array containing every even number from the original array, and I did not use map or filter. So for this one, I try to get just only evens. Nums is the name of the argument, oh, sorry, the parameter. I'm going to pass in an array inside. This is where the new array is going to come out. For each loop, gonna run the loop, the value in here each time for this number, which is gonna be 6 numbers. If it has a remainder of 2, so that means if the remainder is 0, it's gonna be an even number, and it's gonna push every even number onto the console. This is the array that I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it indeed spat out 2, 4, 6, all of the even numbers. I think I went over my time, but everything is on GitHub. If you have any questions, let me know. And thank you so much.